In today's episode with John Campbell, we are talking all things cattle market, what is happening in the world right now as far as the cattle market goes, recapping the market in Lahana this last week, and just markets across the winter livestock family as well, kind of giving you guys a good insight onto what the auction market is doing right now. We, after that, go into some current events, things that are happening just in the nation, and then we're getting political. We are talking Colorado politics, agriculture politics, and what in the world is happening in Colorado right now. John breaks it all down, and without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into this episode with John. But before we do that, if you guys could take a second to like, subscribe, rate, and review, we would really appreciate it here at the team. And on the last part of this episode, John is answering some questions that we have gotten in what we call a Ask John segment. This is available to you guys through our CattleUSA Daily newsletter. It is going to be down below. It's called The Drive, and that link is going to be down below for you guys. So if you have specific questions for John, want him to talk about certain things, submit that there, and we will be more than happy to touch on it if we are able. So the last topic that we talk about today has been some questions that we have been getting in that. So if that's something that interests you guys, make sure you check out that newsletter link and you'll be able to submit those questions down below in that. And without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into this episode with John. John, welcome back to the podcast. How did the market go in Lahana this week? Give us the update. What are you seeing? How did Tuesday go?
Well, a little better run this week, I thought. On 2,300 cattle. Sure enough, more calves. I thought the little lightweight steer calves, kind of 5 to 560. We had some little flyweights up to 670 a pound. So nothing really cheaper about it. But the heavy steers, now I thought 5 to 10 better, kind of 430 up to 488. We had some little 3-weight black steers, just kind of some stick out sales up at 620, some 440 weight steers at 541, little heifer calves, again, pretty steady, 450 to 505, and heavy heifer calves, I thought really 3 to 7 better this week. Some stick out sales on the heifers were some 340 weight heifers at 505, some 4-weight big sisters at 476, and we sold some 530 pound black heifers for 405. You get into the big heifer calves, kind of 2 stories there, the weaned, long weaned true stocker heifer. Then some of these just big heifer calves off the cow, but mostly kind of 350 to 395, the feed and heifer market. I thought 3 to 5 better, 335 to 349. A lot of places calling their deal lower, but man, oh man. Of course, we had some awfully nice cattle, and that makes a difference. But some big weaned, long weaned now, heifer calves, 585 at 395, 665 at 354. We had some 730 pound yearlings, just a package at 349, and some big 8-weight heifers at 340. Into the stocker steers, again, same story, weaned calves and sure enough, calves off the cow, but weighing, north of 5.5, 6.5, kind of 387 to 426. I thought the big unweaned steer calves from 370 to, we had some calves right off the cow weighing 6, bring 409. And the feeding steer market 3 better, but we probably had 1,000 feeding steers this week and had some really nice ones. So kind of 350 to 367 on the yearling steers, and the heavyweights 315 to 327. Had some weaned black 555 pound steers at 426. They're big brothers. Now these are weaned calves, 420 at 416, 620 at 416 rather, and some 750 pound, just little oddsy endsy yearlings at 365. But we did have one nice string of 960 weight big steers at 327, and there was one set of 100 black and red steers that weighed 1050 at 318.75. So all in all, pretty good. real active. We finally caught the up in the futures market this week. So, and had better cattle, and we'll start seeing, more calves about every week from now on.
Very exciting time around there in Lahana. How about other markets across the Midwest, across the states? Anything else kind of stand out to you just in a broader market standpoint?
Well, I kind of use winter livestock as a flagship because that's why we're all here. But some stick out sales at some of our other markets up in Riverton, Wyoming, had some 5 weight steers north of $5, 508, some 550 weight steers at 454, and some little 416-pound heifers at 488. They don't get the numbers of yearlings. They'll get some yearlings, but they're kind of like Lahana, really traditionally a calf market. Dodge City had some 8-weight steers at 378 yesterday, and some big 950 weight steers at 331. That would be good. 6-weight heifers at 378. Pratt, Kansas, of course, going on today. But I was in Pratt last Thursday, and man, oh boy, some 417-pound steers in Pratt at 607, and little 4-weight heifers at 497, and some 5-weight heifers at 415. But I thought the stick out, and they were tremendous. A lot of the cattle came out of Lahana as calves, tremendous condition and weights, but some 8-weight cattle at 385, and their big brothers, I think, weighed 940 at 347. That, I just thought was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a busy market day. I tell you what, holy cow. What's going on in the world, John, these weeks?
Well,
What do you got to say about the rest of the world?
The Ag Secretary Rowland said, no plans for the direct payment to producers to rebuild, which really perfect timing. Not only do the ranchers really not want the money, but as of midnight Tuesday, why we were completely broke anyway. So that's something to think about. We're actually more than broke. We're broke and we owe money. $37 trillion is all underwater. And
Pocket change.
yeah, might be time to maybe rethink that fiscal policy, and perfect opportunity, in my opinion, to fire the thousands of federal employees Trump has promised. But Roland did suggest some, increased access to, I'm not sure what working lands are, but kind of hinted to open up some federal ground to grazing, and even give incentives for grazing on federal land. So, headed in the right direction. Those are some positives, I think.
No, I agree with that and that sentiment. We shared about it last week when you and I were talking that we would rather figure this out ourselves as an industry than have the government try to step in on it. That's at least the sentiment that you and I hold. I know not everyone shares that, but it's one of those situations that sometimes when you get Big Brother reaching in, it doesn't always work out in our favor in the long run. So we would rather be able to sit here and look 10 years down the road, 5 years down the road, and not just getting us through the rest of this year.
Yeah, no, exactly. If we're playing on a even field, you know what I mean, we'll take fundamentals and do what we do if both sides of the equation are equal and we're not getting leveraged into a position, so.
No, I agree there 100%, 100%. What's kind of been surprising you in the world this week? Any other thoughts on the markets or other things that are kind of going on, John?
Well, I think really in response to, we have an Ask John segment. And I have gotten just several emails and several comments that really want my current views on what is going on with Colorado politics. So in reference to that, I would say that here in Colorado, if you think you have problems, why come to Colorado and see how you get along. That the head of our state land board is wanting to rewild our state land, and her name is Dr. Nicole Rose Marino, and she's appointed by our governor, has a pretty impressive resume, member of the Wild Earth Guardians. She's connected to the Earth Liberation Front, who, several years ago, they burned the Vail ski resort down because it overlapped the lynx breeding grounds. On the Leadership Council of the Rewild Institute, and also founder of the Southern Plains Land Trust that want to rebuild the Colorado prairies to restore the American Serengeti. And now, rewilding to most of us seems a little odd because agriculture is a central issue of the state land board. And 98% of Colorado's state land is used for grazing. And more importantly, 100% of the revenue goes to public schools. But Colorado started rewilding with, of course, you've heard about the $800,000 wolf reintroduction. And it's a program that's ballooned now to $3.5 million over the last 3 years with zero revenue. And they have visions of massive buffalo herds coming into the state, introduction of more beavers into the state land and lakes and streams, and developing more prairie dog colonies. This is all part of their mission statement. They're seeking more refuge acres and land acquisitions. So, in their words, the public can view the prairie chicken ancient and provocative mating dance. So I thought you'd like to hear that. Well, my thoughts were, just in case the beaver and the prairie dog viewing donation boxes don't replace the $270 million of revenue that's generated by the oil and gas and grazing fees, why several ranchers have reached out to me and shared ideas and just really suggestions for generating state land income. And I have a few keynote things. Their proposal is they're going to call it Colorado De-Wilding Program. So that's the title of it. One thought would be to buy a buy one, get one free wolf hunt for $5,000, and you get not only one but two wolf permits. And I happen to have a free wolf rug that and give me just a minute here. Now this is sponsored by the Gut Shot Taxidermy, and they'll throw that in on the wolf hunt, and you also get to keep the tracking collar. So I thought that was a plus. They were thinking of turning some of these prairie dog viewing areas. They can be used for a whack 'em and stack 'em vermin shooting gallery. Now it's $1 a head, and cash prizes, of course, awarded for the biggest dog, the most dogs per hour, and a People's Choice Award for best video. One program getting a lot of attention, and one that I really like, is the Big Beaver Bonanza. And you'll like this. Participants pay a one-time camp fee that includes a 3-day, 2-night beaver dam experience. And included in this is one free beaver license, either sex, and you'll also get the use of the humane, state-designed, and I have one for your viewing, beaver trap. So this state-designed, you'll get the use of this beaver trap when you rent your campsite, and that also comes with enough dynamite to return the water flow to the cattle and pastures downstream. And finally, in lieu of grazing revenue, the state could also turn to the multi-million-dollar bird breeding business. Now, a lot of people know this, but our governor has a history of appointing a bird breeder to the state vet board. And tragically, because of some verbal abuse to the 4-H program and finding a little too many dead parakeets in the basement, why she resigned from her position. But what they're wanting to do is state constructed, private, fully enclosed prairie chicken viewing cages. Now, these are just ideas, Lauren, that, if we come in short on our revenue, but each rental comes with a free chicken mating manual. And it's a step-by-step, illustrated with instructions, easy to use it on site or at home. So anyway, it's been said that the good doctor has been quoted, our state land board lady, having a change in attitude on agriculture over the year. But, I personally believe that implementing any of these de-wilding ideas, they'd not only make the state a lot of money, but more importantly, you could win back the hearts of those people that are actually paying the fees for the land board. Now, Lauren, I'd love to stay and visit with you, but I am entered in the EcoBike three-wheel division on the tarantula smash going on south of Lahana. So I got to go. Thank you. I did not show you my Beaver Bonanza hat.
Are you wearing this in your tarantula smash?
I think I'll hold it for the Beaver Bonanza.
There you go.
I'm looking forward to that. See you next week.